What can only be described as a whirlwind of a game at Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey on Saturday night, April 8th. The New York Red Bulls and San Jose Earthquakes played out to a 1-1 draw, splitting a point each on that fateful Saturday night in the seventh game of the MLS regular season in 2023. I'm James Burley for WFUV Sports, and on Saturday we saw what was one of the strangest soccer experiences I have ever had in my life, as Cristian Espinoza scored in the 80th minute and Tom Barlow scored in, you guessed it, the 107th minute for the New York Red Bulls to give the latest goal in regular season MLS history and a late equalizer to make things 1-1. But the reason we got so many minutes of stoppage time, 21 minimum to be exact, that's also an MLS regular season record, was because we had an odd stoppage in the second half because it was alleged that a New York Red Bulls player used a racial slur against a San Jose Earthquakes player. And while we don't have the full answers yet, multiple players on both sides have spoken out about the incident. We heard from Coach Gerhard Struber for the New York Red Bulls after the game. You'll get to listen to that in just a minute. But what ensued was so strange that off of a challenge in the 54th minute, play was stopped for 18 plus before we had any idea of what was going on. Reporters were checking onto the TV broadcast to see if the commentators had any clue what was happening, and that's when a lot of people in the stadium started to get the idea that maybe there was an incident related between players on the pitch. And that's what's going to take headlines in this one. And it seems that the parties involved include New York Red Bulls' new DP striker, Dante Van Zier, who actually made his first MLS start today. He's only averaged 23 minutes per appearance this season, so getting the start was a big jump, and it appears it will be remembered for all the wrong reasons. Now, while MLS undergoes an investigation of the incident, we got a chance to hear from Gerhard Struber post-game about what actually happened. Take a listen.
Yeah, I think right now is nothing 100% clear, but we will cooperate with the league in all directions. We will help that we find in the end the hard facts on the table, and we will support the league and report everything what we know. And I think this is also the right direction. This is a racism word in the space at the moment, and we have to clear this up. But I think it's outstanding important that we find here very clear a clear answer what's going on, and we will do everything that we have here as soon as possible a clear picture.
As for the incident that is taking away all the headlines from the match, it seemed like it was going to follow the formula of a lot of games that we had seen at Red Bull Arena between the New York Red Bulls and other sides from this season and going back to last year with their struggles at home. The first half, they got off to a good start with some decent to promising chances, but JT Marcinkowski had a very strong game in net, I thought, and the San Jose defense headlined by Jonathan Mensah, recently acquired from the Columbus Crew in the offseason, and the Brazilian Rodriguez held strong in the absence of Nathan, who is out with a season-ending injury. Now, as for San Jose, they really came back in the second half following the long stoppage, really put New York under a lot of pressure, and it would be Cristian Espinoza, their main man, to get the goal. Wrong footing Dylan Nealis after a ball in behind, getting him on a cutback, and an easy enough finish on Carlos Coronel, who was left stranded in the goal. So that one coming in the 80th minute, but remember, we had only played about 60 or so minutes of soccer to that point, so there was still another 30 minutes to be played following an 80th minute goal. Just to put that into perspective, very, very strange. But San Jose at this point sat off on New York and tried to play for a draw, and that invited New York to actually, for the first time this season, defeat their opponent in possession with 51%, and they actually got the better of the chances, out shooting San Jose 15-10. And eventually it would culminate in Tom Barlow's goal as Omir Fernandez, who got the start as a lone 10 today as opposed to the more traditional winger positions he's played this season, had a really good move cutting through the defense before finding Kyle Duncan at the back post. He fired off a shot that was saved brilliantly by JT Marcinkowski, but unfortunately for the San Jose defense and goalkeeper, it would be Tom Barlow, who was Johnny on the spot, to tap it home for his first tally of the year and just the Red Bulls' 5th goal all season. So after 7 games, the New York Red Bulls sit on 7 points, which is good enough to be on the outside looking into the playoffs. To this point of the year, they sit in 12th, but a win would be good enough to put them in the playoff picture. So it's best to not have that conversation just yet. However, it wouldn't be overstating it to say that The Houston Dynamo, who come to play against the New York Red Bulls at Red Bull Arena next Saturday, are facing what would be a must-win for the Red Bulls in order to get things back in shape at home. Now, thinking back to the tough result against Nashville, and now this one, you really want to think that the Red Bulls, taking in one of the worst sides in the Western Conference in Houston, they should be looking to grab all three in that one. Well, with all the controversy at Red Bull Arena tonight, all it ends in, for now, we know, as a 1-1 draw, point split between each of the New York Red Bulls and San Jose Earthquakes. For WFUV Sports, I'm James Burley, and I will see you guys next time.